We have with us Ms. Nishat Haque, Deputy Director General Laboratories at Bureau of Indian Standards. Thank you for joining with PTI.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Most people know BIS for certification marking, especially the quality certification marking. As we see on ISI mark on pressure cooker, for that matter, helmet, this is how people recognize that ISI and the BIS. What role do BIS laboratories play in ensuring the quality of these products and also the services?
Yeah, so Bureau of Indian Standards is the national standards body, and we set the standards for these products, like you told for pressure cooker. So there are Indian standards for that. In our certification scheme, we give the certification license to these product manufacturers based on the testing which has been carried out in our laboratories based on the parameters which are set in the standards. And BIS itself has 10 laboratories, and we have a big network of laboratories. We test products as varied as the say the laptop to our say baby diapers, even toys, mobile phones, and the entire gamut of products.
BS has set about 23,000 standards, out of which 700 standards are made mandatory. How do you ensure these mandatory standards which are set are tested widely and ensure these are fulfilling the standards that has been set by BS?
Yeah, so we have standards which are under our mandatory certification. We also have standards which are under the voluntary certification. But specific to the mandatory certification, these come into force through the quality control orders issued by the Government of India. And for this, it entails testing of varied products, very specialized products also, and many a times the quantum of testing, it is it is quite challenging. But at BIS end, we have a laboratory recognition scheme through which we ensure that we are able to utilize the private laboratories, the public laboratories, and we even empanel government laboratories. So even at a short notice, we are able to ramp up the testing facilities based on our recognition of these laboratories through our lab recognition scheme.
Among the 700 mandatory standards, gold hallmarking is something, a success story which BS has always mentioned. So, how is this gold hallmarking testing is undertaken, and whether the BS has wherewithal to test so many gold pieces, and how does it work so that consumers can understand and get the confidence?
Yeah, so hallmarking scheme has been a very popular scheme, and it assures the consumer that the gold that they are buying, which is hallmarked, so they are assured of the purity. So for this, we are having a network of assaying and hallmarking centers from whom the jewelers get the jewelry tested and get it hallmarked if it is complying to the standard. Now these hallmark pieces, they are available, I mean they are sold in the market, which the consumer buys. These are marked with a unique ID, which is the HUID. And first of all, they can check whether the HUID is genuine or not. And the other assurance that BIS gives is we carry out the market surveillance of these hallmarked gold jewelry. We pick up samples from the market and we test it in our own laboratories. So this is the one product where we have set up referral and assay laboratory in within BIS's own lab setup. We do not outsource this market surveillance activity of the hallmark jewelry to any outside lab. So BIS does it within their own labs, and we are able to cater to this testing and give assurance to the consumer that all hallmark products are regularly picked up from the market and they are tested.
And if you can mention what are the products, as part of the market surveillance, BIS has been picking up. One is gold, as you mentioned. Apart from that, any other products? What I heard recently is helmet, which has been a big success. If you can share more about it.
Yes, so this surveillance from the market, it is a regular activity across all our products, especially the consumer products which are like readily available in the market. Our representatives go and they draw the samples. As far as consumer products like say helmet or appliances or any other product, so we take the ISI marked product from the market. We take those samples, and we have a very robust testing infrastructure, as I shared with you, and we send those samples for testing to the BIS lab network. And based on the test report, if only if it is compliant, then those licenses are permitted to operate. In case there is a failure or deviation, then the action to stop entry of such products in the market is taken at the BIS end.
And do you take products as part of the surveillance only from the physical market or from the online platform?
We go in for both the methods. We buy products from the online platform because now the online marketplace is getting growing bigger and bigger, and of course the physical samples also we draw that. We also take feedback from the organized consumers. So, and we also draw dispatch point samples. So we have a very robust surveillance mechanism, and that is backed by our testing laboratories actually.
So, with advancement in the technologies, BIS laboratories must have adopted the newer technologies to test the products. If you can share more details about this.
Yes, testing can sometimes be very time consuming. So, as the technology advances, we get to have better testing equipment. Maybe it is automated, and maybe there is you can say, like, parallelly, we can run tests on several products at a time. So, this sort of automation and high end equipment. So, we have been regularly procuring and upgrading our laboratories. Another step we have taken recently is the integration of the test equipment with our lab information management system. So, in this, the concept is that when the product is tested, so usually what happens is the testing person does the testing, he measures it, he notes the reading, then he calculates it through a formula, and then he has a final result. And that result is typed into the lab information management system. But with the integration of the testing equipment, what we could achieve is that the sample is placed for testing, the equipment carries out the test, it takes the reading digitally, and it applies the formula itself and gives the final output, which nobody needs to note because it goes straight inside the lab information management system into the test report. So this is one very big step that we have taken recently. And of course, we have also enhanced our like monitoring that whether the testing is being done properly through our CCTV coverage of our lab areas. So that has also made our testing process very robust and reliable.
And from a consumer point of view, suppose if I want to test a product, which laboratory I can approach, which is the nearest one? If you can see, you said you shared 10 laboratories are there across the country. Like if I'm sitting in Delhi, which is the nearest lab that I can approach? I can pick up maybe a sample of waters, maybe a pressure cooker which is not working properly, or maybe a watch which is very defective. Where can I go and send the sample, and how much time does it take, and is it a cumbersome process as a consumer?
See, as a consumer, first of all, let me clarify that as a consumer, if you have any complaint on the BIS certified products, you can lodge a complaint and BIS will do the testing for you. So, what testing we are doing is basically for the industry. So, when they want to obtain the BIS certification marks license, we have a simplified scheme in which the manufacturer selects a lab and gives his product for testing. And once it passes, along with the test report, which is showing the compliance to the standard, they have to apply online for the BIS certification marks. Now, for how to determine whether the lab is available near him or whether it is even available or not, so we have a system, lab information management system, through which we have like the information is public. Anybody can go and type in the Indian standard, first of all, which Indian standard they want to get tested. Then they can also filter based on the location, the geographical location, which lab is nearest to them, and there are some other filters also. So that information is available publicly. They can they can use our portal of lims.bis.gov.in, or they can even send us a query. Sometimes it happens that there are some products which have not yet been, no lab is available right now for them, but they may be like wanting to test. And it is also possible that laboratories are existing, but they are not on the BIS system because no one has approached them for testing. So once that also we have like a portal. So once they apply for the BIS license and the laboratory is not visible, then it comes on our dashboard. There is a new tab we have added last year only, which says All India First Application. It means that there is no laboratory. So laboratories are able to see which are the standards for which industry is coming forward for certification. So say there is a testing. So there is sometimes very slight differences between tests which are carried out as per one IS and another IS. So the test equipment may remain the same. So laboratories, when they verify that, okay, this Indian standard, so I do have the test equipment, so they show that their availability. So in that way, we are also facilitating the availability of labs for which no lab has yet been mapped on the BIS network.
And from manufacturer's point of view, you said that licensing is issued based on the testing. Thereafter, once they start manufacturing, in different intervals, whether BIS picks up the samples and tests so that they are ensuring the standards are adhered.
Yes.
How does it work? Is there any protocol or any SOP for that?
Yes. So primarily, the BIS mark is an assurance to the consumer that the product which is available in the market complies to all the requirements of the standard. And to maintain that assurance, BIS draws samples from the market regularly, and it sends it to the laboratories in the network for testing. And through the LIMS, we can regularly monitor at what stage of testing it is, like whether it is still undergoing testing, whether testing has been completed, reports have been issued, and the officers at our branch offices, they review those reports, and based on the compliance, the license is either permitted to continue, or they are told to take corrective actions and improve their product. And another system is that the licensee, that is a manufacturer themselves, also carry out testing when they are manufacturing the product. When the product is they also have a responsibility to ensure that the output is like consistent in its quality. So they have a system through which they also carry out testing regularly. Earlier, they were also required to set up small labs so that they can test the product. But now, to support the MSME, because laboratory setting and like keeping a competent person also becomes cost prohibitive for the industry. So there is a permission given that you can get it tested from outside accredited laboratories. So that way also the laboratories carry out testing for the manufacturers apart from the market samples.
And what about the industry, like manufacturers who are manufacturing for the export purpose and to adhere to the international standards, whether the BIS labs are equipped with systems to test the international standards so that Indian products are exported easily? And what about the cost? Is it higher than for testing manufacturing products for exports compared to Indian products?
Yes, the Bureau of Indian Standards own laboratories, we are carrying out testing only for the BIS.
Yeah.
So the samples which are required for to be tested as per our BIS conformity assessment scheme, be it the ISI mark or be it the registration mark or be it the hallmark. So BIS labs are only limited to these testings. So, and all of these standards are in sync with the international standards. Most of our standards are harmonized to the international standards. So per se, their quality would be at par with the global norms. As far as the export is concerned, sometimes the country which is importing the products, they have their own norms. But with the compliance to the Indian standard, that assurance is there. And another thing is that BIS is having a scheme to give financial support to outside laboratories, government laboratories, for setting up of critical testing facility. So, for example, BIS has supported the organic food testing, setting up of the organic food testing apparatus. So, this helps the export because organic food products are mainly exported. So BIS through its financial aid scheme is supporting such export oriented testing.
BS tested nearly 2.7 lakh samples last year. How this journey started, if you can share about it, and whether BS has that kind of infrastructure to meet the growing demand in future?
Yeah, it's a very interesting journey. Actually, BIS started certification somewhere in the mid 50s, 1950s, and we had our own laboratory in the basement of Manak Bhavan, the current Manak Bhavan. And from that, we grew and we shifted in 1970s, late 1970s, to the what is now known as the Central Laboratory at Sahibabad. So that was the first laboratory. After that, our network is expanded, and today we stand at 10 laboratories of BIS spread across the country. We realized across the journey that only the BIS laboratories will not be able to support the quantum and the range of the products that need to be tested. So we were utilizing laboratories outside of the BIS labs. In 1985, we had a lab recognition scheme put in place, where we had a scheme through which we could recognize private labs and we could empanel the government labs to carry out testing for BIS. After that, the lab network could grow seamlessly based on the requirements of the country, of the certification. To give you some figures, in 2014 we had around 147 recognized laboratories and we had around only 24 government laboratories empaneled with us in. And today we are having 440 uh, recognized laboratories and 350 empaneled laboratories. And that is the way that we are meeting the challenge. We have also recognized other laboratories of the industry, so as to support the conformity assessment schemes as and when they come up. And we are quite confident that whenever any requirement of scaling up or adding new products comes to BIS, we are up to the challenge.
And with regard to setting standards, the BS has set so many standards, nearly 23,000 standards, and this number is going to increase in future, and the burden on labs will be more. So how BS is equipped to manage the demand in future? Is there any plan to expand the network of BS laboratories?
Yes, that is part of our process, that the lab network is getting expanded. Like I told you, our lab recognition scheme allows us to recognize laboratories, add them to the lab infrastructure. For example, when we had the implementation of the CCTV security requirements by MIT, we could go ahead and empanel STQC laboratories for the purpose. When we had the requirement of testing of power transmission line components, we could approach the laboratories of industry, the big industry, and recognize them for testing. And we have also empaneled many of IOCL's laboratories to provide the testing facility for petrochemical products.
And what's the priority for BS laboratories testing, taking samples of mandatory products where mandatory standards are in place, or the voluntary standards?
Yeah, so we are taking market samples for both mandatory as well as the voluntary products, because once it is BIS certified, it is the responsibility of BIS to ensure that it passes in all the parameters that it is certified to. Another thing that BIS laboratories do apart from the testing is being the knowledge center. So we provide internships. A 6-month internship program is in place, where the college graduates, they are like taken into our laboratories. They are given an exposure to the testing methodologies, the lab information management systems, and all other aspects related to the laboratory setup. From there, they also get the exposure of the standards. So this is also one contribution that BIS labs are doing. We give exposure visit to students of our standards clubs. We give exposure to the industry persons who visit us. We give a capsule course, training, a 2-day capsule course where they learn the testing so that they go back to the industry and they are competent to carry out testing. So that way, in the skill development also, we are supporting the nation.
And with artificial intelligence and machine learning and the new age technologies that we are seeing today, how challenging is for BS to test products?
Yeah, actually, with the emerging technologies, I would say we are at a very exciting moment in our journey of the lab infrastructure, because AI gives us AI, robotics, and these new technologies give us a very good platform on which we can progress and make the lab operations more. Speed, we can increase the speed, we can increase the transparency, we can reduce the human error and give the test results which can be relied upon with confidence.
And you talked about silver jewelry, which is again picking up. Do you see silver hallmarking, being if made mandatory, there will be more burden on labs?
Yeah, we are in preparation for that. So rightly pointed out, silver hallmarking is currently voluntary in
Yes.
nature. Last year we started the HUID for silver jewelry also,
Mm.
and now the jewelers for silver, they are also increasing
Mm.
because silver demand is increasing. You
Increasing,
know, gold has
yes.
become very expensive,
Yeah. Silver
so
has become a new gold.
it's become a new gold.
Yeah.
So recently we have like taken stock of the requirements, and
Mm.
we are like ready to take up the testing of silver jewelry in a
Mm.
big way in our laboratories.
And any plans to expand the lab referral
uh,
points for silver
Yes,
testing?
silver we will be currently able to handle
Mm.
the requirement for the maybe coming next 2 years within
Mhm.
our own labs. But
Mm.
definitely in those 2 years, we would be expanding the referral and assay laboratories across the country.
And tell me, in these BIS laboratories, you test wide range of products. What are the unique products that you test, and it's quite challenging also?
Yeah, so I may not say it is challenging. I will say that it is an opportunity for us.
Okay.
Yes. So like there was a requirement for mobile language testing.
Okay.
So are you aware that every mobile phone, it
Mm.
is mandatory that it should be able to read all the 22 official languages
Mm.
of the country. So that mandate came through an Indian standard in 2016. So the mobile phone is required to have the facility to text in 3 languages: English, Hindi, and one regional language,
Mm.
and it should read all the 22 languages. So when this requirement came up, there were no laboratories to carry out testing for the language compatibility, and that was a mandate from the Ministry of Electronics and IT, because you know there are some
Mm.
disasters or other things, so sometimes government also pushes very important messages through SMS. So BIS took up the challenge and we set up the testing facility at our own laboratories. A recent example is the note sorting machine.
Mhm.
So the performance of the note sorting machine, the one is the testing for the safety features, because it is to be operated on electrical power. So those safety aspects, so that aspects can be done by any of our labs, any recognized labs, including the private labs. But it was the condition from RBI that this testing has to be done only through a government lab.
Mm.
So that is where we pitched in. So our central laboratory, Sahibabad,
Mm.
set up the testing facility for note sorting machines, and we have tested the note sorting machines. We have got the training from RBI persons,
Mm.
and the machines are required to not only count notes, they are also required to be efficient enough to spot which are the fake
Fake
notes.
notes.
So that machine has to be tested that it should not skip any fake note, or
Mm.
like a count should not be any issue. So that also was a opportunity where that we got, and we could fulfill it to the satisfaction of RBI.
And any online products that was picked up and it was, as you say, as an opportunity to test?
Yeah, online products are picked up regularly.
Especially the security devices, walkie-talkies.
That does not pertain to
Okay,
BIS. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Mm.
So, and anything new that the BIS is doing to strengthen the BIS labs across the country?
For the BIS labs, we are going into more and more into the IT,
Okay.
because that is the way forward.
Mhm.
Only when we utilize IT to the best possible, uh, that will help us streamline our operations and give timely service and give efficient service.
Mhm.
So we are now contemplating use of robotics. So as a pilot project, we are just using a very basic
Mhm.
pick and place robotic arm
Mhm.
for our cement testing. That would be put in place probably this year.
Mhm.
And based on the feedback that we have, we plan to have similar upscaling of our facilities to robotic features across our laboratories.
And yoga products are something like bricks or belts or something, which the BS is started setting the standards. Whether the labs are equipped to test these kind of products.
This is a new field, and of course, when the standard is being set, so when the committee members, they also comprise not only the regulatory bodies, the industry, the consumers, but also laboratories, so that they come to know what are the specifications and what are the tests laid out in the standard. So by the time we get our like the first application, we will be able to identify the laboratories for the yoga products and onboard them onto the BIS network of laboratories.
So any one message that you want to convey to consumer as well as manufacturers regarding BIS labs, how they can make best use of it?
Yes, to consumers, I would like to say, please buy the BIS certified products. Uh, when you see the BIS certified products, you can be confident that it is backed by testing even before it has come into the market. And once it is there in the market, be it the online platform or be it the shops, you can be assured that it is being picked up, it is being tested in the BIS laboratories, either BIS's own laboratories or the outside laboratories. So have confidence in that mark. The other thing is, if there is any problem with the product, you also have the assurance of BIS. Please put in your complaint. Complaining is very easy. It is through the BIS Care App. Put in your complaint. Each complaint has a unique ID and it is monitored by our senior management. So and the complaint will be redressed to your satisfaction. So be confident, go ahead, buy the ISI marked product. To the manufacturers, I would like to say, get your product tested from BIS lab network. You can identify which lab is the closest to you for the particular product. In case laboratory is not available, please let us know. We would ensure that a lab is available for testing. Get the product tested. Please take certification from BIS and be sure that your product will be received well by the consumer in the market.
So with this note, thank you for joining with PTI.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi.